in Cleveland at the Romo Fijo. The beleaguered Orlando Magic tied for last with Detroit. So we'll see what happens. 7 o'clock is the tip-off tonight. 6:30, right after we roll out, is when your pregame will begin if you want to get all of it. And you've got the last few days. If you want to get something new from CLE Clothing Company, you use promo code SPRING for 20% off. We'll get a new one for you when April kicks in. But if you're getting anything in one of their stores or online, make sure that you avail yourself of that. Spring will get you 20% off, whatever you want. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars last night. I had forgotten that the Oscars were even on. Wasn't even on my radar. And this is all anybody's talking about. I think that the Oscars had made a number of changes that they hoped would get people interested. I think they planned on the telecast being shorter. There were a lot of people complaining ahead of time because a number of awards were going to be given out prior to the telecast. They're like, we don't want this to be... I don't even know how long it ended up being. I don't know if that part of it ended up working, if the logistical part of it... Did any of us watch the Oscars?
No. I just don't care anymore. I mean, I never really cared, but like at this point, it's...
you don't believe in awards, we know.
But it's more than that even. Like
it's all contrived, and it's just
not.
This
fun.
part is authentic. The only authenticality was last night when Chris Rock got slapped.
Well, but even
even
people were asking if that was a bit. But if you watch it, it wasn't a bit, boy. I mean,
not the way they reacted afterwards.
That's exactly what I thought too. But he was so kind of taken aback. And listen, Rock's a pro. He's gonna figure out how to come back from something, right? It's every comedian's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
The guy runs up on stage and hits you.
Yeah.
This happened to Will Smith.
I wonder, was it hard?
And then goes back and heckles.
Yeah.
Like if you had just heckled, I get that. You know, you're making jokes, whatever.
Yeah, but then he's like, well, at least you guys got the greatest moment in television.
But is it though? I thought it was gross, man. I thought the whole thing was gross.
I mean...
And I think what he meant by greatest is that it's just unprecedented. Like there hadn't been anything like that at the Oscars before where someone punched someone or slapped someone else.
Why is it gross? Why do you think it's gross?
That he didn't have enough self-restraint.
Will Smith assaulted a guy on a global telecast and then went back and sat down and then got an Oscar for Best Actor and gets a standing ovation.
I mean, he was crying and apologizing for the way that he acted.
No. He didn't apologize to Chris Rock.
No, but he was saying, I'm sorry to everybody that I did that.
Didn't apologize to Chris Rock.
I don't
Apologize to his fellow nominees. I don't even know who... I don't know who he was up against.
I didn't even know he was nominated.
But that's the thing. That
he played Venus and Serena Williams' dad in a movie that nobody saw, and he got...
No one was going to theaters to see it.
It was on HBO Max.
Yeah, you can stream it, you know. Well, I'll play you the clip here. I mean, for the two people who haven't heard the clip.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Will Smith is laughing there, by the way. Right there.
That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow,
That's
dude.
when you knew it was real.
Yeah.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a
So awkward.
greatest night in the history of television. Okay. So we are here to give a documentary out, to give an Oscar out for Best Documentary.
Yeah. How do you come back? I mean,
There's nothing you can... You just
nothing
gotta go.
you can do.
Just roll the
So
tape.
many people are like, look at the slap. The slap looks like a real slap to me. Someone's
the way
messaging
his
me
face
right now.
moves, I don't know.
And the
I
way
watched
his-
it 100 times and I couldn't... I don't know.
Listen, this
He
is
has
a room.
good form.
People go, this is a room full of actors. Chris Rock is not a good actor. I love Chris Rock. I don't know if you've seen any of his movies. He is not a good actor.
Well, and just the way that he
This
says...
was a guy who just got hit.
Yeah.
And doesn't know what to do.
The way he
because
says,
the guy
wow,
who
dude.
hit him went back and sat down.
Yes, wow, dude is definitely telling like,
wow, dude, like
Yeah.
I was just telling a joke.
Yeah.
Like the way that tone was when I was like, okay, this wasn't set up. Because I was like, Will Smith's one of the greatest actors of all time. For him to do this and then cry, I was like, that I could believe. I could believe that Will would put that on. But Chris
he was
Rock's
laughing.
reaction.
He was laughing.
That's why I'm confused too. He laughed at
Because
the
Jada
joke.
shot him a look and said something like, "Are you going to take that?" And he got up because his wife shot him a look.
Jada don't play that though. Like Jada's
Pinkett Smith.
she a thug.
Please.
She's harder than Will.
She's widely regarded as one of the most humorless people in Hollywood. She takes herself very seriously.
Well, Chris
So
Rock
she
made
shoots him a look, and he gets up. What kind of... Because Will Smith is pussy whipped? A literal cuck? Like, dudes can lay the pipe to your wife, but don't make a joke.
Because there was
About
another
a
joke
quarter-century-year-old movie.
There's a joke earlier by Regina Hall that calls to their open relationship or the entanglement or whatever it was that they talked about years ago. And then, was it 2 years ago? Jada Pinkett said she was going to boycott the Oscars, and Chris Rock made a joke back then and said, "It's not a boycott if you weren't invited." And so I think there's some bad blood
but they're
between
just
them.
jokes.
But he was.
Right, I
but Will
understand
Smith
it.
is sitting
I'm
there
just saying-
laughing until his
He was
wife
laughing.
shot him a look.
Yeah. Well, and now everybody is like, she suffers from alopecia, and that's not cool to make that joke, and yada. And I'm like, I don't know what that's like to lose all your hair, and that sucks to have something that is out of your control.
But that's not the point. It's a great day for alopecia advocates. I
what I'm saying.
understand, right? But showing up bald is her choice. She could wear a wig. You see some of the wild stuff. Timothy Chalamet shows up with no shirt on, right? Like the wild stuff people wear at the Oscars. She couldn't wear a wig. She wants people to see her bald. It's not a bad look. It's a good look.
looks good.
I don't
She
even
has a
know
good
where the
shaped
insult
head.
was with G.I. Jane.
Well,
to be
maybe-
more like super foxy in that
I think it's
movie.
just the short hair.
But I think
But that's her
also,
choice.
Is it also somewhat insulting to assume that she's going to star in a movie again because she hasn't starred in a movie? She hasn't been the star, like the lead in a movie, since what, Woo?
Listen,
No, Girls
Will
Trip.
Smith hasn't had a hit in 15 years. So
He just won an Oscar.
that was not a hit movie, is my point. None
It
of these.
clearly was.
No, it was not. The
There's a lot of
critics
movies-
liked the Academy voters liked it.
All right.
Yeah, what
This
was-
is like the cliche: is that the movies that win every year nobody goes to see. Spider-Man is not up for Oscars. The movies that people go to see are not up for big awards.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, who won Best Actor last year and for what role?
I don't know. I don't pay any attention to it.
And that's
Nobody
what I'm saying.
can
Like, they're
I'm
I'm
not
also
hit
not a
movies.
movie guy.
But you can name a movie from last year, though.
I don't think that I could.
You couldn't name one movie from
That came out last year.
in 2021.
In 2021, a movie that came out was no, Encanto was this year. Was Encanto last year?
Encanto's 2021, but if we actually would need a 2020, but that's also a year when no movies came out. So
But this is my point. I don't
Yeah.
pay attention to movies.
The Best Actor Oscar last year went to Anthony Hopkins for The Father.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Another movie
right.
nobody
Okay,
saw,
you're right.
but critics love. That's what gets nominated. That's why I didn't understand why they expanded Best Picture to 10 movies. You're going to give more slots, but not the blockbusters? Like if you're going to open up the field, I figured, okay, finally, they're going to throw in some movies people go see. I mean, Dune was up for some Oscars,
yeah,
Now here's my question.
but it was for like sound editing or,
Why? I get it that he should have more self-restraint than to get up and do that in the middle of a globally televised event. But at the same time, I mean, talk smack, get hit. Like,
I'll play a call that Albert, to that effect. Albert called.
Hey guys, it's Albert here. Just sitting here, got done watching the Oscars and the Will Smith, Chris Rock thing. I'm assuming you guys will talk about it tomorrow, and based off past discussions with comedians and what they've said, you guys are probably going to come to Chris Rock's defense. And while I agree with you mostly, it's just a joke, I think we have to start, understanding that words have power, words have meaning. And if you're going to say something, regardless if it's a joke or not, you have to be able to accept the consequences of what those words are, be it about someone's wife, a gay joke, a trans joke, short joke, a vegan, whatever. Someone's going to get pissed, and this is going to happen more and more often now. And I'm worried for comedians, actually, if this continues to be a thing. with that being said, I think Chris Rock could do better. That wasn't even a very funny joke. But, it is what it is. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Love you. Bye.
See, I think that is a bad take, boy. That is a bad take.
What?
Because what it means is that, like, you've normalized violence so much that your thought now, the logic is, hey, say something somebody doesn't like, they might hit you. They might beat you up because they didn't like your words. Hey, talk smack, might get punched.
I stand behind that 100%.
It wasn't. So you're saying that if somebody uses words you don't like,
if someone
they might get
insults you or
punched.
your wife,
You know how many millions of times I've been insulted in my life?
to your face?
Yes,
in front
to
of,
my face.
Okay, but here's my point too. And what Bill is saying is that there was bad
And
blood.
I'm not
Yes,
Will
they
Smith.
were all jokes.
I'm not a multi-millionaire actor on television and film.
And
That's
I
about
agree.
to win an Oscar.
I agree that he should have had more self-restraint. Believe me, I 100% agree.
This whole notion that somehow people not only forgot how to control their emotions, but should not at all be held accountable when they do. They go, well, sorry, it got away from me.
I don't know.
How is that logic?
I know that-
I can't control my fists.
In just this segment, I've contradicted myself, and I know that because I do believe in free speech as far as comedians go, and you should be able to just tell a joke. But if someone gets mad,
You can't control how someone else reacts.
I can't do anything about the way that people react to my jokes.
Right, but it
I'm not
doesn't
saying you can.
So
I'm saying
Chris Rock
that
can't do anything about the way that Will Smith reacts.
this is not on Chris Rock. This is on Will Smith,
Right.
who should not have gotten up and punched a guy because he didn't like.
He could have handled it in a private setting. I agree.
I mean, listen.
he could have even yelled.
There's
he could
clearly
have just yelled and say, "Keep my name." But getting up there and assaulting him goes way too far.
Chris Rock can handle a heckler.
Yeah.
That's what, you know what I mean? But
He wouldn't have did that to somebody who was white. He wouldn't have did it to like.
well, I'll tell you
white
what.
host.
Right-wing Twitter was all, if Will Smith is white, they would have let him out in handcuffs. That's not 100% wrong, by the way.
Yeah, it is. He's right.
I look at it the other way. If Chris Rock had been a white guy, there's no way Will Smith even goes up there.
Absolutely.
Who should have been punched for years at an award ceremony? Ricky Gervais. This guy's out there just nailing everybody, right? Yeah. Nobody ever ran up and hit Ricky Gervais. Will Smith did it because Chris Rock is, a showbiz buddy or whatever, smaller than him. And there's bigger things going on. Will Smith's got a lot of issues with his wife and his career and his whole thing. But come on, man. And then you go sit down and then they give you an award.
When they did that Red Table Talk, like air everything out,
The entanglement.
I think since that time, Will Smith has been on this like public slide because to this day people still use that meme of him.
It's just like the Jordan meme.
Yeah, it's used all the time, and I think that has had a very lasting effect on how he is perceived and also how he went from being the golden child in Hollywood as the guy that every movie he put out makes $100 million and is number one at the box office. And then he sees that start to fall off. And then he has these problems with his wife and it becomes a joke. And so I think it's like wreaked havoc on him psychologically to the point where when she made that look at him and he's like, I got to do something, he just snapped. And again, I don't know. Like, I understand what happened and why he did that. I don't think it was right at all, and I don't think you should handle yourself in that way. But I think those are the factors that played into all of it.
But
Apparently him hanging out, we watched that Disney show that he did where he's traveling around the world. Apparently hanging out on glaciers and volcanoes didn't chill his ass out one bit. No. Because he's running up there. And then you got,
So what though? Here's my, just because
and then
he's
you're going to get up and give a speech about love.
Just because he's a millionaire doesn't mean he's not a person.
I'm not saying that. I'm
So
saying
why
this is a
can't
guy.
he have that reaction?
He has been in the public eye his
So what?
entire life.
So what? Like Bill said, the last couple years of his life have
So
sucked.
that justifies it?
Everyone has an
Does
opinion.
that justify it?
Hold on. Everyone has an opinion on what he does, how his wife operates, the ins and outs of his
Blah,
relationship.
blah, blah. Does
So
any of that justify him getting on stage and punching Chris Rock?
why doesn't it?
Because it's assault.
Assault is assault.
I get that it's assault. But if someone talked smack about you and your wife for 3
Oh.
straight years and you hit a breaking point with it and you punched that person, I don't
wouldn't
see it would be
punch
that bad.
person. I would avoid them.
Why?
I wouldn't talk to them. I wouldn't have any contact
Correct.
with them.
But he can't avoid that. He's in a room with this person.
You can
even
only
can't avoid it.
What do you tell kids? You can only control what you do.
I
You
guess.
tell children that.
I understand.
And then this guy, great role model for your kids, by the way. Violence is never the answer, kids, unless somebody hurts your feels. Then you might have to take a swing at
I
him.
don't know, man.
I don't see where the
I don't
rationale is for
yeah.
this.
Because
I don't get to that point. Like, and I've worked very hard. Like, I've never, as an adult, thrown a punch. Like, I'm not
Well,
someone
I don't know.
that throws punch.
Oh,
Like,
I've thrown a punch. I've thrown plenty of
I'm
punches.
not saying you.
If I'm
just saying
physically
for myself.
threatened.
If I'm, and
Chris
I
Rock
haven't-
wasn't physically threatening
Right.
Will
And
Smith.
I agree. I understand, but I also see Will Smith's point of it. I also see getting to a point where you are sliding and you have been under crazy amounts of stress for
why?
years.
Then you got to get
and
some
at some
help,
point
man.
You snap.
You get professional help.
How do you know he isn't? And this is just a bad day.
He better get his money back then.
Well, that's a very embarrassing place to have a bad day, and it still doesn't justify it. Like I said, I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't mean you let that overtake you.
I
Because
don't know.
Everybody has moments where
assault-
you'd love to strangle somebody. You don't get to do it. You can't do it. And by the way, everybody knows if they're that person. You know if you're one of those guys where somebody looks at you the wrong way, you want to punch him in the face. You need help.
I'm
You
not
need
an angry
psychological
person.
help.
He could have put up on Chris Rock afterwards.
And I agree with that. I'm just saying that I
Me
understand
and my
both
goons
sides
gonna
of
be
it.
in an SUV waiting for you when you get in the parking lot.
Goons.
Yeah.
Okay, but where do we draw the line? Hold on. And I understand that
Physical
this is
physical
hold
violence.
on. You don't even know what I'm saying.
Doesn't matter.
No, where do you draw the line under when physical assault is okay? Because when that guy got smacked in the face with a twisted
If
T,
you were being physically threatened.
that guy didn't threaten him. He called him the N-word, and he got smacked in the face with a twisted T, and everybody on the show was like, that's what you deserve.
But it's still
Talk smack,
illegal.
get hit. I'm not saying it's not illegal.
We didn't justify him hitting with his twisted. We thought it was
Everybody
funny.
on this show said, talk smack, get hit.
So you're equating calling a black guy the N-word with making a joke.
I'm saying
That's what you're doing.
I asked you where the line was. Is it racial slurs? Is it domestic violence? Is it talking about your wife who you've had open public problems with for years?
Okay.
Where is it?
If I'm not going to cry if I see a white guy get the piss beat out of him because he called a black guy an N-word to his face, that's not going to bother me. So I'll give you that. Fine.
Everybody said, cool, that guy deserved it. So then when Chris Rock makes a joke, which clearly
But that was a joke.
And he said that there's a Bill, I mean, I don't know anything about the past that they have, but there's been things between Chris Rock and the Smiths before. We don't know what their personal relationship is. Those two could hate each other. We have no clue what the relationship is between Chris Rock and Will Smith.
Well, they should have done it backstage then.
And I again, like I said, I agree. But everyone wants to jump to he's unprofessional, this, that, the other. But then
Well,
you
he
can,
was.
Oh, at the
I
very
agree. I
least,
agree.
it's unprofessional.
I
That's the
agree.
nicest thing you could say about the whole thing. He's
He's
unprofessional.
unprofessional.
But it
Richard
seems to
was-
be a sliding scale of when it's okay and hey, that's what you deserve, and when it isn't.
Well, I'm not going to equate Chris Rock with a guy calling a black guy the N-word.
Okay, but again, we don't know the
I don't
relationship
consider.
between the two of them.
I don't consider that
But
a
it-
sliding
but
scale.
Even with all that we do know, it doesn't mean that's not an instance where violence is acceptable to me.
It's a room full of millionaires.
I get
Also,
it.
I can't.
I know money doesn't solve everything, but these are all people. I'll tell you what, and this is another thing too, is it goes to show you that celebrities do not like being mocked by comedians. They don't like it. They sit there when the camera's on and they laugh like it's hilarious, but I guarantee you, because what happened when they went to break? Everybody went to console Will Smith. Denzel's there, and Tyler Perry, and Bradley Cooper. Oh, good brother, you okay? You all right? Celebrities take themselves so seriously at those award shows. They hate getting mocked like that. They get upset about every little thing, by the way. Not one person stood up and was like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
Right? You talk their ear off about Ukraine, all of a sudden they're crying. Will Smith runs up and punches Chris Rock. Everybody's like, ugh, okay. He might have made fun of me next. And then he gets up and starts crying and giving a speech.
I agree that it's an overreaction.
Richard Williams was a fierce defender of his family. In this time in my life, in this moment, I am overwhelmed by what God is calling on me to
shut
do
your ass
and
up.
be in this world.
God.
I'm being called on in my life to love people and to protect people. And I know to do what we do, You got to be able to take abuse. You got to be able to have people talk crazy about you, people disrespecting you. And you got to smile and you got to pretend like that's okay. But Richard Williams, thank you, D. Denzel said to me a few minutes ago, he said, at your highest moment, be careful. That's when the devil comes for you.
Anyway, it's not the end of the world for either of these guys. They were both at after parties and they were having fun and dancing and whatever. But, man, that was gross. That was gross to watch. Get up there, make a speech about God.
Is it
and
gross
love.
because it was Will Smith? Would it be
No,
gross
I don't
if you
care.
saw this happen at a bar?
What?
Yeah.
If you saw someone make a joke at someone's wife and they got hit in a bar, would you turn your eye and be like, it's bar stuff? How much is the Oscars playing into this situation?
Well, I think it's a big part of it.
I think it's a big part of it. But also, someone assaulting someone is never something that I'm going to take lightly. Like, I'm not going to be like, well, that's what he gets. And I was talking about this with our friend Cody Cooper because he is that guy that will throw punches. Like, he is very much understanding of what Will Smith did because he is a hothead and wants to go to a physical place. I'm not that person. I don't think you need to go to a physical place when someone says something you don't like.
Being a hothead gets you nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble. And if it was anybody besides Will Smith, because Chris Rock's like, I'm not going to file a police report. What's that going to do? What, misdemeanor battery in the state of California? $2,500 fine?
No,
well, where's he
agree.
going to come up with that kind of money?
Right, he's
what
got
do
it
you
in
got
his
on
pocket.
you? Yeah, right. So
I'm just saying that I understand both sides of it. I'm not condoning what he did, but I guess maybe I am more in the camp of tolerated to a certain degree.
I fully understand wanting to hit somebody. We've all wanted to hit somebody.
Here's
many times. I gotta go to break.
I know you do.
We'll continue it after the break. 35192. If you want to text, you're on hold. I'll get you on the way back, and I will have what for you. Last Podcast on the Left is doing a live taping end of April at MGM Northfield Park. So if you're a fan of that show, I'll hook you up coming back.